Today, we present the 10 best history books of all time, from 20th century classics to modern Pulitzer Prize-winning masterpieces. Hi, it's Andrea here, and this is GT Books. I'm here to guide you on your personal literary journey and expand your reading list with the best books around. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe, and remember that you can find all the books mentioned in this video in the description down below. So let's jump right into it. The right history book has the power to bring the past into focus, turn complex events into thrilling prose, and make a celebrated hero feel like someone we've known our whole lives. In fact, we believe the best history books are equal parts educational and entertaining, which is the quality of the titles we've put together for you today. So, without further ado, here's a list of the 10 best history books of all time. 1. *Sapiens: A Brief History of Humankind* by Yuval Noah Harari. Most history books cover only a specific period of history. It may be a single event, or a decade, a century at most. This book, on the other hand, had a completely different approach. Spanning the entire history of humankind, *Sapiens* managed to deliver the last 70,000 years of human existence from the Stone Age up to the 21st century into less than 500 pages. With an insightful and clear voice, the historian Harari offers an interesting insight into what he believes were the 4 biggest breakthroughs in human history: the cognitive revolution, the agricultural revolution, the unification of humankind, and the scientific revolution. Harari poses all the big questions. What makes us special? What makes us deadly? How it came to be that we completely dominated the earth? He also has some answers, but they're not what you expect. In the end, *Sapiens* explores who we are, how we got there, and where we're headed. 2. *Team of Rivals: The Political Genius of Abraham Lincoln* by Doris Kearns Goodwin. This easy-to-read biography uses amusing anecdotes to introduce readers to a very human Abraham Lincoln. Acclaimed historian, Goodwin weaves an accurate tale as she follows the life of the 16th President of the United States from the early 1800s through the Civil War until the tragedy of his assassination in 1865. The book portrays all the men who served with Lincoln, as well as the rivals he later managed to integrate into his cabinet, and analyzes them with great insights into their characters and visions. More than anything, *Team of Rivals* is an in-depth study in leadership and managerial skills, so powerful that has apparently given Obama the model for his presidency. Goodwin's bestseller is meticulously researched, wonderfully written, and full of humor. 3. *The Rise and Fall of the Third Reich: A History of Nazi Germany* by William L. Shirer. Almost 50 years after its publication, *The Rise and Fall of the Third Reich* is still recognized as the definitive work on the Nazi regime. It's all here: the birth of the Third Reich, the rise to power in the 1920s, the weakness of the European powers, and then the war itself, from Germany's early success to the eventual defeat. The foreign correspondent William M. Shirer reported on the Nazis since 1925 and wrote the book after gaining access to a huge collection of documents captured by the Ally. We're talking officials' diaries, testimonies, private letters, the minutes of secret meetings. This book is dense, detailed, powerful. It is also exhausting and overwhelming, but it remains today the ultimate record of one of the most upsetting chapters in the history of mankind. 4. *A People's History of the United States* by Howard Zinn. They say that history is always written by the winners. Howard Zinn, American historian and political activist, tried to change that. In his bestseller that sold 2 million copies worldwide, Zinn tells a story not often seen in traditional books, which usually put great emphasis on nations as a whole and illustrious men in high places. Instead, this book chronicles history from the perspective of the working class people, Native Americans, slaves, the men who went off to actually fight wars, and the women who tried to keep going after losing them. From Columbus' expedition and the original scene of the Native American suppression, passing through the President Bush's War on Terror, ZINN delivers insightful analysis of the most important events that shaped our present. 5. Genghis Khan and the Making of the Modern World by Jack Weatherford. In the West and in the Middle East, the perception of Genghis Khan has always been strongly negative. And yet, in nearly every country he conquered, he brought new forms of cultural communication, abolished torture, granted religious freedom, making his reign vastly more progressive than the ones of his European or Asian counterparts. With this beautifully written work of revisionist history, the cultural anthropologist Weatherford tries to present a different side of the ruler who created from scratch a modern empire. In order to do so, Weatherford carries meticulous research, exploring thousands of miles of what was once Mongol territory, gathers information from famous political scientists, and goes through original Mongolian documents. In the end, Weatherford managed to deliver a beautiful narrative on the rise and the influence of the figure of Genghis Khan, attributing also positive cultural effects to his rule. 6. A Woman of No Importance, the untold story of the American spy who helped win World War II, by Sonia Purnell. Very few people have actually heard of Virginia Hall, and yet she is nowadays recognized on the record as one of the most valuable secret agents for the Allies in World War II. Despite continuous gender discrimination and the loss of a leg during a hunting accident, Virginia spent the entire war behind enemy lines, training members of the French resistance, organizing powerful networks, all while constantly eluding capture by the Nazis. Purnell's detailed research brings Virginia's story to the public, delivering a shocking and inspiring story of personal achievement, heroism, and spycraft. Including the perfect amount of historical context, while at the same time building up tension, excitement, and joy, A Woman of No Importance is a groundbreaking biography that reads like a spy thriller. 7. John Adams by David McCullough. A biography of the founding father and second U.S. President John Adams, McCullough's masterpiece went on to win the Pulitzer Prize just a year after its publication. Through this powerful, epic book, readers come to know John Adams as the quintessential honorable man, a transparent political leader, and a rock of integrity that valued free thinking as the highest virtue. Through the passages from letters exchanged with faithful wife Abigail, readers also discover him as an absolute devoted husband, as well as an excellent writer of history. 8. 1775 by David McCullough. Yes, we included not one, but 2 books published by the incredibly skilled author David McCullough that, as always, is able to write historical nonfiction that reads like a novel. As the title suggests, the book focuses on the events surrounding the start of the American Revolution. It is the story of both the Americans and the British, and of all the major players involved in the war. Aside from the astonishing number of historical details, what is particularly remarkable about this book is the drama, excitement, and narrative force that McCullough managed to convey in reporting the story of the year of America's birth. 9. Guns, Germs, and Steel: The Fates of Human Societies by Jared Diamond. A national bestseller, Guns, Germs, and Steel attempts to explain why Eurasian and North African civilizations have flourished and conquered others, while strongly fighting against the ideas of human development based on race. In other words, Diamond, famed anthropologist, attempts to answer one of the greatest questions of all time: Why did history unfold so differently among the various continents? Through this book, you'll analyze over 30,000 years of history, plus geography, environmental aspects, and all the factors that played a role in the technological prominence of the Eurasian civilizations. What makes the book particularly interesting is the in-depth and practical experience that Jared has on all the fields required to put together a study of this magnitude. The effort was definitely well appreciated, as in 1998 the book won the Pulitzer Prize in recognition of its influence and great educational value. 10. Endurance – Shackleton's Incredible Voyage by ALFRED Lansing. In 1914, the British explorer Shackleton and a crew of 27 men set sail for the South Atlantic on board a ship called the Endurance. The crew ran into more than their fair share of trouble, to put it mildly. The voyage took a little over a year, and every single day they were literally one wave, slip up, or storm away from being wiped out. One of the greatest stories of the modern age, Shackleton's attempt to cross the Antarctic was accurately reconstructed by ALFRED Lansing using the direct testimonies and diaries of the survivors of the expedition. The awful conditions the crew faced and the many acts of bravery and fortitude reported in the book are truly humbling. A captivating and inspiring tale of exploration, human strength and survival. Endurance will keep you on your toes until the very last page. Alright, these are our 10 best history books of all time. But which are, in your opinion, some great books we should have included in this list? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you as always for spending some time with us, and I'll see you next week.